For most of my life, I never really got along with my classmates. Not because they were necessarily bad people, but because I didn't just have the right topics to talk about with them. They were talking about cars, about sports, about rap songs, and that didn't just really quite sit with me. Not because I don't like those things, but because it's just not fun for me to talk about those kinds of subjects. And I remember every single time when we were coming home from school, bro. I would just stand there, being alone. I wouldn't even talk to them, like they would be talking about all the kinds of different topics that they would talk about, and I would just stand there like a lamp. And this was even worse with my family friends. I remember that back in Sylvester of 2019, when 2020 was coming around and the new decade was starting and everyone was so hype on the internet, and I was hype especially. But no one else, too. No one else was living it as me. Like, come on, it's 2020. This same kind of number won't come in the next 1000 years, because the next number like this will be 3030. And this will be the third decade that I will live in. This will be the decade where I will turn 18 years old. And when I would actually achieve all my goals. During this time, we were at our family friend's house. And don't get me wrong, it was a lot of fun back then. We even danced to songs until it was like 2 a.m. But when the Sylvester actually came in, and it was like 11 p.m., I went to my friend's room, where my brother and my other friends were also, and somehow I couldn't even strike a conversation with them. I just stood there like an NPC. It was like I wasn't even there. And then when they called us to eat, I just said that I wasn't hungry. And so I sat down on this like beanie couch, if you know what I'm saying. And during the entire hour, I was just sitting there, just thinking about life, just wishing that there was something or some kind of topic that would let me talk to anyone and get along with them easier. And then after that 1 hour of deep thinking in my head, my brother came in and he just said, "Oh, you were here the entire time." Like they didn't even care about me. But whatever. This loneliness continued until I was like 16 years old. I remember this specific time in 2021 when we went to this cottage in like the mountains. And I remember there were like 20 people with us who were in the cottage. Basically, it was like, my family, me, my mom, my brother, my father, and like 16 other people. It was insane. And I remember how they were all having fun, like playing cards at the table. And I was sitting there next to my mom because I just couldn't strike a conversation. And it was really pissing me off. Like, the opportunity was just right there. All I had to do was just go there and talk about the time or something like that. I was so desperate that I even asked mom if there was some kind of a universal humor that I could somehow use to get them to like me more. And she just looked at me and said, "Oh, come on, TR, don't be so foolish." But not because my question was foolish. It was the way that I said it that made me sound foolish. And so as years went by, and I finally got back onto self-improvement in summer of 2023, and my life finally changed for the better, I met two very influential people in my life that changed my view on relationships forever. One of them was my mom's friend's husband, and let me tell you, this guy was insane. I've already spoken about him, but basically, we had the most mindful conversation about self-improvement that you can imagine. Like literally, we talked for 3 hours straight without having any awkward breaks, without any language barriers. Like of course, we spoke both in English, but it felt like I didn't even have to speak English in order for him to understand me. And the second person that really changed my view on relationships was one of my dad's friends this time. You see, when I started to go to the gym that my dad goes to also, he wanted me to perfect my exercising. And so he found me this really nice coach that he had knew for a long time. "Hey TR, don't you want a coach that will help you perfect your exercising? Because it is not good to just work out with all the different machines. You have to learn how to exercise also." And so I said sure. Like, what can go wrong? I can just talk about all the different kinds of topics with him. And when I finally met him, bro, we did have the most mindful conversation. But this time, not in English, but in Slovakian. And that was really interesting. And on that day I realized that every time I watched a big self-improvement YouTuber like Hamza, for example, he always talked about how there are 99% of average people who spend time doing instant gratification activities all the time. And then there's the 1% of quality people that are working hard on themselves every single day to become the best version of themselves. These two men were part of the 1% of people. They gave me something that is priceless for me, and that is hope. Hope for the better. Because with them, I finally saw that Hamza and all these other big content creators in the self-improvement field weren't bullshitting me. Like, all my progress was finally paying off. All the long-form videos that I've watched and all the books that I've read were finally paying off. Finally, someone was valuing the knowledge that I was giving them. Finally, someone was appreciating my effort and my positive energy for the outside world. And so you have to understand, you are unique. You won't be compatible with everyone, just like I was with those family members and my classmates also. And that is okay. The real people are waiting for you. You know the phrase, no one is better at being you. There is a specific reason why I tell this at the end of every single one of my videos. You know, my social deprivation was my biggest problem when I was younger. It bothered me so much that I just couldn't find any right topics to talk about with the people around me. I thought like I was the weird one. I thought like I was the one missing out, and yet that was bullshit. Because with these two men, I finally realized that I was unique and that I was okay, and that there were actually people who would value my gifts. And there are actual people who I don't have to think about conversation topics, because we just naturally get into the flow. There are people who will want to talk to you, because they are on the same wavelength as you. It is just that you're surrounded by 99% of people who aren't compatible with you, and that's okay. Because when you think about it, there is a fake mask that you have to put on every single time that you talk to someone. Because let's say that you're talking to one of your classmates and he's telling you about this new skin that they added to Brawl Stars or something like that. You have to put on that mask at around 50% of the time. At 50%, you can't be authentic, because otherwise you would have cursed them out of existence for playing video games. But at the same time, even with the 1% of people who are compatible with you, who have the same values as you, the same likes and dislikes, even with them, you have to still put on that mask for at least 1% of the time, which is significantly less than with other people who just spend most of their time in instant gratification activities, just compensating for the lack of fulfillment and enjoyment from life. Because do you really think that those people I wanted to talk to because I felt like I was missing out, do you think that they were happy? Do you really think that those instant gratification activities like video games, social media like TikTok for example, and gossiping about everyone, do you really think they were fulfilled? Do you really think they were happy? Do you really think they have a future? No, they don't. And this is not me trying to be mean to them or anything, but let me tell you, do you know with how many of those people am I actively in contact with? And by actively, I mean like I have them added on social media and I talk to them every single day. Do you really think I still talk to them actively? No, there isn't a single one. They just straight up aren't on self-improvement. They don't go to the gym, they aren't quitting video games, they aren't quitting social media addiction, they aren't quitting their vaping addictions, they aren't researching what is healthy for them to eat, and so that they just continue to buy random sugary bullshit from the stores. None of them are on self-improvement at all. And so why should I care about them? Because let me tell you, during your entire life, you will meet less real friends than you have fingers on one of your arm. And let me tell you, once you meet at least one of them, that's when all of your social deprivation will be cured instantly. Because let me tell you, those 3 hours that I spent with my mom's friend's husband were infinitely more rewarding than the entire life that I spent with my family friends and my classmates also. And now just think about if you have him in contact and if he lives in your local area. Imagine that you have actually someone who is on this path with you, who is waking up at 5 a.m. He's doing the good habits like meditating, journaling, exercising, and he's in some way your competition. He's that fire that is burning beneath your ass to actually get up and do the work. and not be a lazy piece of shit like the 99% people around you who refuse to improve. The point is, you are not meant to get along with everyone, and that's okay. At the end of the day, you need to judge people only based on if they are good or bad people. Meaning that if you still have some family friends who are addicted to instant gratification in any kind of way, and they're actually nice people, then I strongly suggest that you still passively talk to them. Meaning that when you see them at a family gathering, or you just randomly see them on the street, just talk to them. It's worth it. And always remember, you are unique on this path. You have your own purpose in life. You have your own story to follow to greatness. But here's the thing. Those 1% of people won't be actively friends with you if you don't improve yourself. So here's the thing. First of all, you have to find your purpose in life. Basically, your purpose in life is your gift to the world. It is something that is completely natural to you. Something that brings you into a flow state, where basically if you do it, you're so good at it that 3 hours feel like 5 minutes. Like for example, for me it is teaching. When I'm telling you this, I'm in a total flow state. I have no thoughts in my brain and I can just speak to you mindfully because I like what I do. The way to find your purpose in life is to grab a pen and a piece of paper and then go to this old place that you haven't been in for a long time. Basically somewhere that feels authentic to you. And just think about what would you do if you had financial, location and time freedom. And think about what is something that you were good at when you were younger and your mom still reminds you that you are better at it than 99% of people that she knows. What is something that just naturally feels easy to you but feels difficult to the other people around you that you know. And then you just have to align this purpose to the 3 big desires that every single man has. These 3 big desires are wealth, health, and relationships. For health, it is easy. Everyone wants a godly physique, right? And everyone doesn't want to be sick. So if your purpose is something like mine, where you like to learn and then teach it to other people, you can basically think about all the different exercises that you've learned recently, implement them and then teach it to other people. And that way, the exercising session will be a lot more fulfilling and enjoyable because you're using it for your purpose and not just for your health. For wealth, it is easy. If your purpose is something like playing the violin, then you can basically master it in 6 months. And then you can basically post YouTube videos about it and then sell a course on how to play the violin a lot easier, where you basically share all of your mistakes that you've made in the past and talk about the actual techniques that you have used also. And for relationships, it is easy also. If your purpose is something like learning martial arts, then you already have a place where you can go and you will feel infinitely more fulfilled than at a school or at your house, for example. And you can just talk to all the different kinds of people that are in there. They are already aligned to your purpose. They are already interested in the things that interest you. So you already have something that you can talk about with them and share your knowledge and your wisdom. And they will give you some value back in the forms of friendship, more knowledge. Get what I'm saying? But just using your purpose won't be enough. So you need to also start doing meditation, gratitude journaling, and regular journaling. Meditation because you want to improve your focus. Gratitude journaling because it will make you a more positive person in the long run. And journaling because you want to actually think about all the different kinds of people that you want to meet. You want to write down their values, their likes, their dislikes. You get what I'm saying? And plus, it just clears your mind also, so you won't overthink everything as much. And you need to improve your discipline and willpower also. Discipline is the act of doing something that you don't feel like doing. And willpower is the act of resisting the temptations. Like for example, eating a chocolate bar, watching that 1 hour of Let's Play videos on YouTube, or playing video games for 10 hours straight. Okay? So go research meditation, gratitude journaling and also improve your discipline by finding something that you don't feel like doing and doing it anyway every single day. And improve your willpower by just resisting the temptations. Like for example, you can put your favorite candy on your table or basically to some kind of place that you are a regular at. Because once you improve yourself in all of these 3 areas of a man's life, in these 3 big desires, which is wealth, health, and relationships if you want them repeated, it will improve your status in the social hierarchy, and that in return will give you that 1% of quality men that you want in your life. Those real friends that you are looking for. And remember, you need just one of them to completely compensate for your social deprivation after all of these years. And if you think that, oh, they aren't real, they just don't live in the same area as I do. These limiting beliefs are here because you spent 99% of your entire life with the 99% of people. So of course you have this limiting belief. You need to destroy it. You are currently going through the hard times. And you know what happens? When men finally escape the hard times, they become strong men. And strong men get the greatest long-form gratifications in a godly physique, a business that fulfills them and brings them financial, location and time freedom, the beautiful, sexy wife that will love you for the rest of your life. And you guessed it, that quality, true friends that will stick to you until you die. Just one of these friends is worth everyone that you wanted to strike a conversation with, but you just failed all the time. Don't worry, it will get better. You just have to put in the work to improve your social intelligence and your life in general. So remember, you are unique, you have your own path in this life, and improve daily. Basically start exercising, meditating, gratitude journaling, and regular journaling. Also improve your discipline and willpower. Also, as a last tip for making this far into the video, don't get your knowledge from short-term instant gratification videos on YouTube, you know, those clickbaity top 7 greatest money-making methods in 2024. Instead, get your knowledge from long-form educational content like podcasts and courses, and by reading books, start making progress in the 3 big desires of men, basically in health, wealth, and relationships. So actually go out there and align them with your purpose and start cold approaching people in there so that you improve your social intelligence, so that when they actually do come, those real friends that you've always been desiring, you can give them a lot of value in true friendship, you know, by not being a retard when someone talks to you, by giving them a fuck ton of value, which includes knowledge and friendship. Thank you so much for watching this video, and this will be one of the most fitting ones. No one is better at being you.